You know each other?
He used to date my sister.
You're a lucky man.
How's that?
You're still breathing.
It's amazing how after the first take, I was Dom again.
You here to take me in, O'Connor?
Oh, no. I'm gonna get these guys, Dom. We tapped into something with the first one, and I've been living with this for 8 years.
I want to trade. 6 million cash.
The Fast.And.Furious franchise has a lot to do with adrenaline and the addiction to it.
I'm going with you.
I ain't coming back.
And you have a movie that's action-packed, all adrenaline, and yet it really comes down to friendship. That's cool.
Just like old times.
A lot has changed.
You're right.
After doing the cameo in the third film, it became clear to me that people wanted to see the Fast and the Furious and were saying, hey, Ben, get in there and do the movie.
I've traveled all around the world. It seems like no matter where I go, there's always somebody that's going to be there to recognize and give a little respect. People like it, and they always ask, when are you going to make another one?
There's a bit of nostalgia, and everybody wants to know where all those characters went and what happened to them, and I think people are genuinely curious and sort of invested.
The only way that it would work is if we would be lucky enough to get Paul, Jordana, and Michelle to come back. And they came to the picture willing to give everything and to really go back to these characters and try to continue their reality on film.
Cops are getting hungry.
And I guess we're doing our job. For me, it's really all about the team. Of course, the action helps. You know me, I love action.
There's also a sense of responsibility to the fans to take it to the next level.
One race, 2G buy-in, winner takes all.
I don't have any cash, but I do have the pink slip to my car.
You're in.
It all comes back to the first film. All about that family and how it's represented in your friends.
That's what grabbed a lot of people in the first one. These are a bunch of street kids. They didn't really have any direction, and they created this family unit. Dominic Toretto was the father figure. Brian's going, hey, this is kind of sweet. This is something I've never really had before.
You're a cop!
And Brian basically broke up the whole family, and I think he's been singing the blues ever since. Pictures up!
And for this film, we wanted to come up with a way that explained where has Dom been up until this point.
I think the opening of the movie is the best opening we've had in any of the movies. Vin and his crew, including Michelle, go and make this daring kidnapping of a gasoline tanker.
All right, we're good to go.
The Land Train is a reintroduction of Dom and Letty.
You got this?
Bet your ass, Papa.
With Dom and Letty, the love is so apparent, and yet there's this independence that they both have that makes the relationship work.
And we really wanted to get a sense of how their outlaw mentality has really grown over the years.
They are in the Dominican Republic because he's so wanted in America for being this modern-day bandit.
And the stakes are high. You know, you're traveling around the world and you're breaking the law wherever you go. So there is a slight Bonnie and Clyde-ish feel to it.
Brian, he's just going through the motions. He hasn't really found a place for himself yet. And now here he finds himself a federal officer. What do you want? Give me a name! Give me a name! You know, he wants to bust bad guys. What about Braga?
This guy is becoming one of our biggest national threats, and we don't even have a picture of him.
We'll find him.
Miss Toretto, FBI. Let you and I have a little chat.
When Dom left, Mia kind of had to fend for herself. They didn't have any contact because he wanted to protect her from all that. Dom.
Mia, I told you not to call me here.
Something happens to one of Dom's close confidants, and all the characters have to come together.
His code demands that he does something. And for Dom, that's a very dangerous move.
I told you, you gotta talk to Braga! Bring him up, Dom. I'm gonna get these guys. Now let me do my job. The bad guys are a drug cartel, running heroin, big money. And Dom and Brian, they both have the same agenda. But Brian knows that Dom is a live wire because, bad stuff's happened.
Let's just stop someone from telling them you're a cop.
The same thing that's keeping me from telling them why you're really here.
It's really interesting to watch how these two very, very different characters are going to go after the same goal together.
Brian, the only thing he really had that was closest to the family was with Dominic Toretto, and that family he'd really created with a bunch of street kids. So he's really hoping that he's going to be able to right where he feels like he went wrong. When I did that, he was wrong. I'm sorry, it was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
When he comes back into her life, it's kind of a big shock, and she has to decide what she wants to do with that.
I'm sorry too, Brian. I'm so sorry that you had to come into my home and pretend to love me. I'm so sorry that you ripped my family apart. I'm very sorry that was hard for you.
It's like, how dare you come back into my life and stroll in, sort of pretending that nothing has happened this whole time.
Braga's number 2, Ramon Campos, will hold a street race in Koreatown tomorrow night to fill a slot on his team.
These are all the imports the city has at impound. So which one do you want?
I want them all.
For Dom, it is a step towards his objective. For Brian, it became a chance to beat Dom.
Get his back, Dom! Dominic's kind of like his big brother in a way. And Brian really thinks he can beat him. The race is on.
You all know why you're here? My job is to find the best driver. Someone that drives their 10-second cars not in a straight line, but to push it and make it through places no one else would take it.
They're moving large shipments from Mexico into the States and vice versa through these tunnels.
You work for Braga now. When the GPS calls, you follow.
Campos. He works for this kind of elusive character, Braga, who runs this very violent cartel. And Campos, he's the one who actually takes racers from LA, the fastest guys, and he uses them for this operation.
There are helicopters and surveillance cameras that scans for heat signatures at the border, but there are blind spots that I can guide you through via satellite. Stay close to Phoenix. He'll lead you across.
Phoenix is the muscle behind the organization. He's a fierce, animalistic human being that is extremely loyal.
Toretto, get back information.
Dominic Toretto's just been wanting to kill this guy from the very beginning. This guy's the eternal scumbag. He's a big guy, and he's real physical. Dominic is too, so you're just waiting for him to go blows. You want him to throw in boxing gloves and just beat each other senseless.
It was kind of a clash of the titans from the first minute we set eyes on each other. It's like, all right, I want to take him out.
Cell phone number. The print's for campus. The number is for me.
Giselle, she works with Campus in Phoenix. Very independent woman who thinks for herself. She's good, but she's on the bad side.
So now that I know you're tasting cars, what about your women?
20% angel, 80% devil.
That doesn't sound anything like me.
It ain't.
Through the course of the journey, there has been this interesting chemistry that's been created by the Giselle character and the Dom character.
She sees something different in him. He intrigues her. She sees herself in him because he's not there for the money. He's not greedy. He's there for a bigger cause.
The Fast and Furious franchise began and has kept going because everyone can relate to having a vehicle. Everyone can relate to wanting to press the gas on that vehicle and take that vehicle as far as they possibly could.
In this particular one, we're having more types of cars than we've had in any of the other ones before, and we've really embraced muscle cars, tuner cars, exotics. We have all kinds of vehicles.
At the beginning of this film, one of the first cars you see is the Buick GNX, which Vin Diesel drives. Two of them were equipped with a reverse body on the chassis for driving high speed in reverse.
As a film viewer, I hadn't really seen too many 80s cars being brought back, so that choice for the GNX, it was spectacular. When I came into this franchise, you find out very quickly what's important to the fans, you know, and one of the things that always comes up is Dom's Charger. So to be able to bring it back, it has a lot of significance.
You bring that back because not only is it just an awesome looking car, there's something more to it. You know, it tells a story. It represents the soul of Dom. It's actually